Good morning this morning, and welcome to a Let's Talk Running Backs and Quarterbacks edition of the OHIO podcast. Before we dive into all this great information from yesterday's interviews over at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, don't forget to smash that like button. Absolutely helps the channel. The other thing you can do, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, get notified. Let's continue to grow this great community here at the OHIO podcast. And by all means, please make a comment down in the comments section below. I'll ask you some questions during this, video. If you are interested in making a comment, let's try to get to 100 comments on this video. The more comments that are made, the more this video will reach a broader audience, which is what we're trying to do here in growing our community. All right, let's dive into it, guys. So yesterday, there was two position coaches that met with the media after practice: quarterback coach Billy Fessler and running back coach Carlos Locklyn. We're going to dive into those interviews as well as the interviews from both the quarterbacks and the running backs yesterday, along with what we learned from that and our thoughts with that. So, without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's start with the youngin, Billy Fessler. Very impressed with his interview. The young man is sharp. Um, this is going to be a future head coach. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Ryan Day, when he looks at this guy, sees a young version of himself. Um, I think that this is a smart young man who is going to continue to climb the coaching ranks. I don't think Billy's going to be at Ohio State for 10 to 15 years. I think Billy is going to quickly catapult himself into an a OC position. Now, he's already called plays at the MAC level as an OC. This is someone who's going to be the OC at a Power 5 conference. I'll I don't want to put a timetable on it, but it's going to be sooner rather than later. That's how impressed with him I am. And I think that he is a huge asset to Ryan Day when it comes to the quarterback room because not only does he know what he's doing, but I think that he can relate the what Ryan Day wants in that room without Ryan Day having to be there. That's how impressed with this guy I was. So, um, just first impressions of Billy Fessler. He is a great hire by Ryan Day. Is he Chip Kelly at the quarterback position? No, Chip Kelly had a ton more experience, but Chip Kelly was also the OC. This guy is in that room every second of every day. And so, without having those offensive coordinator position responsibilities like Chip did, I think Billy was doing a lot of the coaching already in that room. So, just give him the title, give him a pay raise. And I think, in a lot of ways, this is Ohio State tipping the hat to what this guy had already done last year. It's only a matter of time before other programs come knocking on his doorstep for as he continues to climb the coaching ranks. All right, let's talk quarterbacks. All right, first up, Julian Sain. So Julian in his interview was very confident. He's had a great first part of the fall or spring camp. He is everybody keeps talking about how quick his release is, the zip on the ball, his ability to read defenses, his ability to understand the offense. All these things are great things. He's just lacking experience. And I think he's the type of guy who's not going to crack under pressure, which is what I think this whole quarterback competition is all about, is making sure that this guy elevates his game and doesn't falter under pressure. Because if he's the man, he's going to have to show that he's the man. So far, he's done everything about that. Did he knock a home run out in the press conference? I mean, for really the first time he sat down with the media like this, where he's the center of attention, I wouldn't say it was a home run, but do you really expect someone to hit a home run in their first at bat in the big leagues? Not really, right? Okay, so let him grow into the position. This very much, I've been saying it for a while. Even Ryan Day's alluded to this, not so much in this particular um, instance, but I think overall this feels like 2021. CJ Stroud's first year, Julian Sain's first year, coming off a redshirt freshman year. You're the man. This is your opportunity to lead the offense. Just feels a lot like that. And then you go back to CJ Stroud's first interviews. He wasn't as flawless as he is now either. Julian is going to be just fine. But pushing him and applying the pressure is one swole Lincoln Keenholz. Now, this guy, this is an older picture. This guy has hit the weight room. He is jacked, man. I don't know how much muscle he's put on in the Body by Mickey program, but he looks like a tank now, dude. Now I remember when he first came in his freshman year, back during that Cotton Bowl game, man, he looked like a scared little puppy. He ain't a scared little puppy anymore. He's kind of a big dog now. And I was impressed. I think he did a great job in the interview. You can tell that he is not necessarily looking for the spotlight. I think he's chasing the spotlight. And I think he's got a competitive edge about him that I really, really like. The one thing that was brought out in this interview that was asked about him was what kind of sets him apart. He mentioned his legs. He views himself as a dual threat quarterback, someone who can use his legs to pick up the first down if needed. And there is going to be a spot for him in this playbook, short yardage opportunities. Is he Will Howard? He doesn't have Will Howard's size, but he might be a little bit more athletic than what Will Howard was. And so if you take that into account, um, I think two things here. Number one, like I said, RPOs, something down on the goal line, give them some plays. There's some opportunity there. Number two, Ryan Day obviously doesn't want to lose him because that is your backup quarterback right there. Worst case scenario. If he loses him to the transfer portal, you are losing your backup quarterback. And now Taven St. Clair, who's a true freshman who will come to next, is your backup quarterback. And that's not something that Ryan Day wants to experience right now. This is one of the reasons why he's not going to announce a winner coming out of spring ball. I'll be shocked. I'll be absolutely shocked if Ryan Day announces that the starter out of spring camp. I just don't see that happening. He doesn't want to lose either one of those guys. He's going to say that this competition is going to go into the summer and into the fall, and you're looking at worst case scenario your backup quarterback, which I like. I want him to be the backup quarterback because I think he offers Ohio State experience, somewhat more experienced within the system, not so much experienced on the field, but within the system. And I think you've got a hungry, um, athletic dude who is not going to back down. I like that. That's what you want to. That's what you want in your backup to push your starter. And so this is a perfect situation for Ohio State. I was really impressed with Lincoln. And do I still think that this is Julian Sain's job? I think it's his job to lose. Yeah, I do. But this guy's going to push him, and I'm all for that. All right, let's talk about the freshman, shall we? A freshman's going to freshman more times than not, and Taven St. Clair is that guy. Is he better than most freshman quarterbacks in college football? You betcha. Is he a freshman quarterback in college football? You betcha. He's still just learning how to be a college student and a college quarterback. Um, if we were to lose Lincoln, he would step in as your backup quarterback. And I'm not as confident in that, not because I don't think that Taven St. Clair has great skill set. I believe he absolutely does have a great skill set. I think he's going to be a fantastic quarterback at Ohio State in the future. He's just young. He's young, he's inexperienced, and he doesn't know the playbook as well. He's learning how to be a student. He's learning how to be a college quarterback, and he's learning how to be a quarterback at Ohio State, and that's just going to take some time. Best case scenario here, Julian Sain is your starting quarterback in 2025 and 2026, and this is your redshirt sophomore starting quarterback in 2027. That's your best case scenario. But he's there, man. He's there, and he's going to compete, and that's great. Before we jump into the running backs, let me share with you today's Bible verse from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. And he's still there making intercession for you and I. Let's talk running backs, right? Carlos Locklyn, Coach Lock. Oh man, this guy is he is a joy to listen to during an interview, man. He is full of energy, he is full of life, and the man he is just ripped. Like that guy could absolutely tear a hole through a wall, man. I love his demeanor. I love how he challenges the guys in his room. I love his no nonsense approach. Um, I feel like Ryan Day hit a home run when he hired Coach Locke, and he inherited one heck of a room last year when he got came in to a room that had Quinshawn Judkins and Tavian Henderson. Travion Henderson, man, Tavian St. Clair on my head still. Travion, my goodness, Travion Henderson. Get it right, Boggs. Anyways, both those guys had fantastic seasons. They're gone. They're going to go to the NFL, and in steps a very young room who basically he's built for the most part. Now, did he recruit all the guys who are here? No, but you know what? He closed on the majority of them, and he was here for the first year. And James Peoples, who we'll get to next, and the transfer. So it's pretty much in 1 year his room. But we'll get into that in just a second. Let's talk about who I think is going to be RB1, James Peoples. Now, very impressed with this man. He is so well spoken, but we knew this. He was great coming out of high school. Tremendous parents, military family, um, very polite, well spoken, very impressive young man. Probably would have played more as a freshman last year if you don't have Travion and Q in your backfield, eating up the majority of the carries. But now all of a sudden, he's who you're going to be counting on to be pretty much RB1, or at least in the room to be, I would say, one of two starters for Ohio State, because I think they're probably still going to run two back system, just because I think, given college football and the 16 game schedule, if you play into the postseason and beyond in the CFP, and you play multiple games in CFP, it becomes a very long, enduring season, and you're going to need a healthy running back room, and so they're going to run quite a few guys in the backfield. But he, to me, is the first name you throw out there. One, he's been at Ohio State for a full year now. Two, he's the most experienced running back coming back this year for Ohio State, next to TC Caffey, who we'll talk about in a minute. And three, I think he's the most impressive guy thus far. And he's being pushed. He's being pushed by Coach Locke, and he's doing a great job. Very impressed with his interview, and looking forward to seeing him. Now, who a lot of people believe will be his main running mate, and that's the transfer from West Virginia. And of course, we're talking about CJ Donaldson. Now, what's interesting about CJ here, guys, CJ came in a little bit plump, you could say. I would love to weigh what he was weighing last year at West Virginia at 244, but for a Division One running back, that wasn't what Coach Locke was looking for. He wants someone who can be not just a power back in short yardage situations, but he wanted a running back who could do it all. Someone who could be one cut and gash and slash and run away from some guys. He wants someone who can catch the ball in the backfield. He wants someone who's athletic enough to come across the face of the quarterback and pick up a blitz if need be and not be late. So that athleticism is what he was working on, and he wanted him to lose some weight. And yeah, CJ's lost quite a bit of weight, close to 20 pounds. I think it's closer to 17, 18 pounds right now. but he's in the 220s now, the high 220s, probably be mid 220s by the time the season rolls around. He's looking much more cut. He's moving quicker. His feet are faster, and he says he's able to do more athletically than what he did at West Virginia when he was a bigger back. He ran against a lot of eight-man box fronts defensively, so he was running into the heart of a defense more times than not without getting too much gaps. So this is going to be a little bit of a change for him. We'll see what kind of speed he's got. The videos I've seen, he's not James Peoples when it comes to his versatility as far as his movement, his hips side to side, cuts and things. But he is looking like he's moving a little bit more fluid than what he did in West Virginia, and that's obvious. When you're going to lose that kind of weight, you are going to move a little better. So we'll see how he does in the spring game and in the remainder of spring into the summer camp. But I would say more people than not think that he's going to have the opportunity to kind of be the Q in this Quinshawn and Travion Henderson with James Peoples this season. Now, let's talk about the person who I'm most excited to talk about in this backfield. That's Bo Jackson. Bo knows Buckeyes, right? I so want to make that shirt. Anyways, Bo Jackson, true freshman. He is a grown man. This is a do-it-all back. He can do everything. He is learning how to uh, pick up pass protections and pass block. That's something he's going to have to learn how to do as a running back at Ohio State. I don't think that they're going to put him in passing situations more times than not, although he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he does have that ability. But I do think that Bo Jackson is going to be the one freshman this year who you're going to see play quite a bit. I think that he is going to compete. I think Coach Locke is pushing him to compete with the previous two guys who I just mentioned for playing time. Do I think starting the season that he's going to be the starting running back at Ohio State? I do not. That would be crazy for me to think. But I do think he's got the potential out of all the freshmen this year, especially on the offensive side, to make an impact this year. So I think Bo Jackson is going to be the type of guy who think James Peoples from a year ago times two. I think he's going to be able to play in bigger games at bigger situations more often. And if he's got a nose for the end zone, I don't think Coach Locke is against playing a freshman, especially down by the end zone, especially if he can catch the ball on the backfield. So there's some potential there for Bo Jackson to see the field early and often, and that excites me because this is the one guy in the class last year I wanted more than anybody. Now let's get to what was the most interesting running back interview of the day. Sam Williams Dixon. Of course, you all know Sam Williams Dixon entered the transfer portal at the end of last season and then all of a sudden showed back up. Now, what was very interesting here is Sam Williams Dixon brought up the name of former running back coach Tony Alford in his interview. And he also mentioned, not in the same breath, but at the same time, that one of the reasons why he entered the transfer portal was that he was listening to some bad advice from people who didn't have his best interest at heart. Are those two stories related? I don't think so. I don't. I think that losing Tony Alford at this time last year really affected him as a true freshman going into Ohio State. But I also think that not only that, but then he was listening to some bad advice from some other people, if that makes sense. But did Tony Alford put a bug in his ear to leave and go to Michigan? That is an interesting question, and it's one worth exploring, and I am digging into it because that would be incredibly interesting to find out. Sam Williams Dixon is an intriguing back for me as an Ohio State fan because I don't think he's an all-purpose back. I don't think he's your traditional tailback. I think he's more of a hybrid back. I think he's more of a um, I can do multiple things for you and third down specialist type of back. Um, it's interesting because in Ryan Day's offense, that has not really been featured nearly as much as it was in Urban Meyer's offense. And so I'm interested to find out if they can find a place with him for him in the playbook where his skills can be utilized. That to me is the $1 million question here for Sam Williams Dixon because if he sits the bench and is even passed over by Bo Jackson, then I think there is a very good chance he does enter the portal once again. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's your fourth string running back at this point, and there's a couple other backs that we're going to talk about in a second that are going to desire some touches as well. We'll see where he fits into this thing. Is it special teams? Obviously, it needs to be special teams right away. I'm not so sure he's catching punts and kickoffs, but he's definitely blocking, and he's a gunner down on the 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 punts and kickoffs, making some tackles. So he's gonna play. He's fast as lightning. There's definitely a place for him if they can fit it into the offense. But the problem is, guys, there's only one football, right? So we'll see what they do with Sam Williams Dixon. But this is an intriguing story and one worth following. All right, let's jump over now to some of the other backs I want to touch on here real quick. Some of the other tidbits to mention. TC Caffey, the walk-on running back, he is back. He seems to be doing fine. Seems to be recovering from his injury and will be working his way back to add more depth to the running back position. So that's good news. On top of that, you've got Isaiah West, who is not really participating in the physical part of spring ball. He's doing more of the mental reps right now with the team, non-contact stuff. But he was interviewed as well. He seems to be just a joy. He seems to be someone where Bo Jackson was more reserved, more quiet, real quick on the answers. Isaiah West seems to be the guy who by his junior senior year you're going to want to talk to if you're in the media because he seems to be one of those guys who loves to be interviewed. Okay, so I think he is an intriguing back as well. We'll see where he fits into this offense in 2026 as a redshirt freshman. My prediction is he gets redshirted this year. They've got plenty of depth, and he's someone who I think you want to slow play here, especially coming off of an injury. And then finally, you have the freshman who's not on campus yet, and Anthony Turbo Rogers. He will join the team upon graduation, so he's not participating in spring ball this year, but he will get to Ohio State when he gets there. And those type of situations usually tend themselves to being another redshirt individual. Special teams possibly, but when you've got plenty of depth and other guys who can do special teams, and you don't want to burn red shirts for them guys or have already redshirted, then it's their turn. He's probably more than likely going to be redshirted with his counterpart. So Isaiah West, Anthony Turbo Rogers, I believe both those guys more than likely, if as long as the room stays healthy and has great depth, no need to burn those guys red shirts in the first year. But we'll see. We'll see if maybe one of them comes in and flashes right away and can push for some playing time. There's always a possibility. All right, guys. So what do you think? I want to know what you think about all of these guys. Who was the most intriguing quarterback? Do you think Lincoln Keenholz, do you think that that really is a quarterback competition? Or do you kind of feel like me, it's more of Ryan Day holding his cards close to his vest and trying to push both guys? And in the meantime, it's really about making sure that Julian Sain's ready to go and that Lincoln Keenholz is still on the roster this fall. Or do you think this is 100% completely wide open? You're taking their word for it and they're not They're not trying to play the system, um, but it's not really playing the system. It's just being smart. But you get my point. As far as the running backs are concerned, do you think one of the freshmen can jump in and challenge for some playing time in year one? Is it Bo Jackson? Maybe one of the other guys? And what about the Sam Williams Dixon situation with Tony Alford? What do you think about that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, guys. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Don't forget, tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, is the call in show with yours truly. Rumor is that there's going to be a special guest, so you're not going to want to miss that. And this Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern, our 500th episode, 6-year anniversary special. It's going to be great. Just talked with my OG co host. He's planning on being there. It's going to be fantastic. You're not going to want to miss it. 8 o'clock Eastern this Saturday. Come and celebrate number 500 with us, guys. Till next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen Ohio with all your heart. You all know what to do. Go Bucks.